What's going on, y'all? Rob Anderson, Clean Power Wash, Salisbury, Maryland. It's December. It's cold outside. Kind of cold inside the shop right now. I don't have a space heater or anything going on right now. But I want to talk about winterizing your equipment. First and foremost, for those of you down south, you don't need to winterize your equipment until it's actually going to be below freezing. Freezing is 32 degrees, not just when you had to get out that long sleeve shirt and pants down in Florida because you're just not used to it. So if it's going to be in the 40s, you don't need to winterize it. And also you got to keep in mind how much you're going to winterize is going to depend on how cold it's going to be. The simplest thing that you should be doing when it's supposed to get below 35, and we have for our techs to do that, is to blow out all the water out of the lines. Out of your pumps, out of your hose reels, jumper hose, whatever. You can even drain your overall plumbing. You really don't need to drain your whole buffer tank. If it's got a full tank of water, it takes a lot of time to actually bring that entire tank of 275 gallons or 500 gallons or even 100 gallons. It takes a while for that to freeze. But in a 3/8 inch hose or in some ag hose, 1/2 inch, whatever, it doesn't take long to do that. Last year we actually froze a 2-inch water pipe, or 2-inch PVC pipe, which is crazy, in our box truck, even with a space heater in it. So first of all, you're going to need a way to control your airflow. And actually, this is just something, we've got a 60-gallon air compressor back there. When we're using a smaller air compressor, we just run the whole time, and it didn't really matter. It didn't really need this, but that one will put out about 130, 150 psi, and that's kind of overkill. You can mess some things up with it. All this is a 1/4 inch ball valve, getting your air compressor aisle, which, hint guys, your air compressor fittings are typically cheaper than going into the plumbing aisle and getting the equivalent brass for any adapters. So just 1/4 inch plug, male, 1/4 inch female. So we'll put this right into the air hose, and then this is going to go to our attachments. The reason why we put this on here again is you don't need 100 psi to blow the lines out. You need about 5 or 10 psi. I'm sure that's wrong, but you don't need a lot of it, and you only need a little bit of air basically to go in there to push the water out. The reason why I recommend to do this though with the ball valve is that then you can control it, you can let enough air in there, and you can also, once it's all the water seems to be going through, you can open it up and let it get that last bit of water that'll sit down in the bottom of the hoses. So to go from here to your actual connections, you need to do a couple things. This is an older, let's see, version of it, but you need to go from your air chuck to male garden hose fitting. So on this one, we have a 1/4 inch going into a 1/4 inch female, goes to a 1/2 inch male fitting. This is one of those fittings where it's got the garden hose, it's got 3/4 male thread, and then inside that male thread is actually 1/2 inch female. So it's nice. It's three fittings in one. Really good. That's just your basic. So we would then screw this into the garden hose for our supply reel, hook this up to it, and then we, if it's like this when we open it up, do that. That's going to go ahead and start letting the air flow in there. Again, don't need to go all the way with it. For your pressure lines, so we do all of our jumper hoses. This time of year, we'll also put quick connects on our unloaders. So on the outside, the bypass line, you want to disconnect that because you can still have enough water that's in that line that could then crack your unloader. Not good. So we've got a couple of new fittings here. I'll show you. Here is a way that you can make a different version of this. This is actually real nice, cheap, space-saving piece. Same thing. So it's going from, it's got the 3/4 male, and then it's got the 1/2 inch female fitting there. These little cobalt fittings from the aisle. Again, doesn't matter what brand, but this is what I got. This is what we'll use to go from our 1/2 inch to 1/4. So we'll thread that in there and then be able to put this air chuck in there. And then we're good to go on that. So it'll be a little bit smaller there. And then this one is our 3/8 inch and 1/4 inch. So we'll put our 1/4 inch here, And then what we'll do is we'll put, depending on how your plumbing's set up, you'll either put a 3/8 inch coupler or plug, depending on what kind of outlet. All of ours go from, the outlet is the quick coupler, and then the plug is the inlet, basically, or where it's going towards that way. So we'll put a 3/8 inch. I'll get it real quick. All right, so we're back. So I'm going to take this coupler. We'll put that in here. Put this in. I'm going to take it apart and Teflon tape it. It's not super important on that, but it is helpful to be able to just make sure that you're actually blowing the air through the lines and not having a lot of your air, especially on a lesser or a smaller sized air compressor. You're going to want to be able to do this in an efficient manner, not be losing all your air pressure. So we'll thread these in together. We'll take this, put this onto our jumper hose that goes into the pressure hose for the overall hose reel. Just disconnect that right from the unloader. Blow that pressure line out. We'll do the same thing with our booster. If you've got a proportioner or something like that, what you want to do, we put cam lock fittings at the top of our hoses. So what we do is for bleach, guys, if you're cold enough that bleach is going to freeze, good luck. That's ridiculous. But for most other areas, as far as the water line is going to freeze, your surfactant, it's so stinking thick already, it doesn't really matter. But we'll actually open up the cam lock fitting on the water line so that the water will go back into the tank, and that the remaining water will open up the bottom of the proportioner, open up the water line the whole way. And if you've got a flush kit, you want to do the same thing. You want to open that up so that there's no water sitting in there. We also put a cam lock underneath the bottom of it, and just in case somebody doesn't know, this is a cam lock fitting. It's got a male and a female, couple them together. So we'll use that and be able to blow the rest of the lines out. For your booster, we did make an adapter that goes just like that with the cam lock, so we can actually do the same thing where we go through these fittings. We go from the air chuck down to male fitting like that. Or sorry, this is a female, but whatever. Connect that onto it, then we can blow that line out. Put a spot so that also you can shut your water off in your plumbing to each individual machine. We've also put in on the outlet, or on the other side of the supply side for your pressure washer, we've put in a little garden hose fitting, and we put a rubber cap on top of it, so we can actually take that off and be able to make sure that we've got even the last bit of water out of there. Now, so all of that's just if it's going to be temperatures below freezing for a couple hours. You're still planning on using your machine in the next week or two, or next couple of days. And this is something that you can do to kind of extend your season. We will absolutely have a lot of days coming up where we will winterize at night and wash during the day. If you're putting your equipment down for the deep freeze, if you live in Minnesota and you're not going to be using that pressure washer for the next couple of months, go through, blow all your air lines out, and then you're going to take antifreeze. The preferred one is going to be automotive antifreeze. You can get the diluted stuff, it's fine. Run that through there. According to Paul Cassandra, it's got additional buffers and things that'll actually help to your O-rings and all things in there. You're going to run that through your machine. So what I was saying, while we have the garden hose spot on there, we'll take a funnel. You don't need a lot. You just need enough to get into your pump so that there's not that little bit of just pure water in there, so that you're getting that out. So thanks for sticking around. Hope you liked the video. Hit that subscribe button. Help us to continue to grow the channel. Have a great day.